So, when you create and spread an ideology that puts people into groups based off race and ethnicity, and then say the white group is oppressing all the non-white groups and that this is bad, so we have to save all the quote-unquote people of color from the evil white oppressive group. When you promote that kind of idea, and that idea that is unbelievably racist, like if you don't understand why this ideology is racist, all the critical race theory that paints all white people as racist, if you can't understand why this is racist, then there may be no hope for you. But, I mean, seriously, when this kind of nonsense is what you believe, it's going to lead to its logical conclusion. I mean, that being segregation. I mean, whether it's by the government or by cultural means, I mean, it's where it's going to go. The far left and people who believe this stuff, they're either going to segregate people themselves or they're going to demand you do it as well. I mean, they're going to demand you do it in order to provide all the poor people of color a safe space from their evil oppressors.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up, because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at, and there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
So like everything else that we've seen from the far left intersectional beliefs, it all starts on college campuses. I mean, and I'm sure you can all guess why. As we can see in this Breitbart article that says as many as 75 American colleges were offering black-only graduation ceremonies. I mean, and then with close to 50% of those actually offering segregated residential halls. I mean, a lot of this stuff is coming from black student union type groups that demand the colleges implement this type of stuff, with it all being done for the well-being and safety of the students, as if they're just getting murdered and abused left and right when they're near any of the white students. And yet, colleges are just going along with these demands and promoting them as if they're just perfectly normal. Like Michigan Dearborn putting out on their Instagram that they were having a non-POC cafe and a BIPOC cafe, which stands for the absurd Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. But notice that these were being hosted by the Center for Social Justice and Inclusion. Ironic, isn't it, that something with inclusion in the name is segregating people? I mean, it's the perfect example of the way these far leftists change the meaning of words in order to manipulate people. Oh, you're all for inclusion? That sounds great. Including people is such a good thing. As long as it's not those evil white people, they don't count. But yeah, what a great way to get rid of the racial divide in the country by literally dividing people by race. Yet like so much of the social justice garbage, this stuff isn't going to stay in the colleges. I mean, we're already seeing Antifa doing it by creating black-only spaces.
How long's the blackout going for?
Till 8 p.m.
Okay, so I have to wait till 8, basically?
You're welcome to hang out in the perimeter area.
Well, the thing is, I'm half Italian, half Colombian, so do I get a pass to get in there, or?
Well, this space is right now held for just black folks.
Oh, just black, okay,
Yeah.
So full black, you're saying?
If you have black ancestry, or if you have experienced oppression because you are black, then you can enter this space.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it interesting that it's all the white people guarding the border to the black-only space. But, you know, that's me. All these white people have to keep their blacks in their spaces, if you know what I mean. But yeah, here we are. Segregation is just coming back, and it's happening as if it's just completely normal. As if people didn't march in the streets to protest this. Now, you can say, well, as long as it's not the government creating laws to make people segregate, they have the right to freely associate with whoever they want. I mean, true, and I can agree with that. But like everything else, politics is downstream from culture. You promote and create a culture that approves of segregation, and make people believe that segregation is in the best interest of helping those poor, marginalized people of color. eventually that's going to make its way into politics. It's going to make its way into the government, and eventually you're going to hear a politician saying straight up on CNN that we need to pass a law to segregate schools and shops and whatever else. Because it's their obligation to the well-being and safety of our citizens to create spaces for them to gather and relate to one another and to discuss their experiences. And he'll be a member of the Intersectional Social Justice and Inclusion Committee for the House of Representatives. And you can bet your ass they'll be a Democrat. But this stuff is going to become more mainstream. Mark my words. It's just the inevitable conclusion to racism and critical race theory and all this white privilege intersectional crap. I mean, it's just racism by another name. And for that, segregation is just par for the course. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. You can find more of my opinions over on my Minds page. You can also find me on Parler and Twitter. Links for everything will be in the description, of course. Thanks again, and God bless.